Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Agree to Disagree. I am Aidan Chard, your host this week. With me is Dean Gutik, Noah Schwartz, and Jack Acello. How is everybody doing on this lovely evening?
Depressed.
Mixed reaction.
Yeah, I'm with Jack. Pretty terrible.
It
Jets.
wasn't that bad of a week for me, I gotta say, sports-wise at least.
I have a question for you guys once we start talking about football.
All right. And so let's get right into things. I want to start with talking about the NFL. It was a weird week, to say the least. There were some interesting results, but there are four specific games that I want to talk about. So let's start with the Monday Night Football game. Dean, I'm sure you don't want to talk about this right now, but Chiefs Bills. I'll let you kick it off.
This is what has kind of ticked me off. I understand that they're at least 4-2 and they have a divisional lead, but this is what I mean when I say you got to beat teams like this. You got to prove your worth if you want to increase your value in your team. If you want to prove that you're legit, you got to go out and beat these teams, and they haven't done that these past 2 weeks. They lost to a team who don't get me wrong, the Titans are a very good football team, and you've all seen that, but you lost to a team that hasn't played in the past 2 weeks and you got blown out. The run defense was terrible today. The pass defense was all right, but
that run defense, that I gotta say, you always say that defense is top notch. The last couple of weeks,
I mean, they've been struggling, but in Dean's defense, I mean, a lot of key players have been out.
Yeah, I'm still.
And it makes me sad. A team that's supposed to have a top-notch defense, as you mentioned, Jack, has taken a huge fall from grace, and this is what has frustrated me. You can't have the offense win you games all the time. I understand, the quarterback has struggled the past 2 weeks, including this week, but you got to have a game where defense wins you the game, and the Bills have not had that this year, and this is what concerns me. The run defense got absolutely shredded by Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and now that they're going to have Le'Veon Bell next week, it's going to be...
What was it? 200... Can we just take a moment to note 231 rush yards on an Andy Reid team?
Yeah.
Yep. The most under Andy Reid as a Chiefs coach.
By far. It's got to be, right? I don't know. But.
And believe me, when Patrick Mahomes is in one of my leagues is my fantasy quarterback, this does not make me happy. So, Dean, why couldn't your defense do a better job, man? Come on.
Because this defense has fallen asleep. The team has fallen asleep. I mean, luckily next week they get to play a tune-up game against a preseason team. But there's no disrespect, Jack. But
not taken.
It's if you want to prove you're legit, you can't be having performances like this if you're Josh Allen, and if you're Buffalo, you have to step up. Hopefully they get healthy, but abysmal past 2 weeks, especially today. Today was dreadful on both ends.
I'm not going to blame them for today. If you're asking me, what I thought.
I agree with Noah there. Yeah,
it wasn't horrible.
It wasn't horrible.
Listen,
they didn't lose terribly to a
Chiefs. It's the defense. It's the offense. The offense was non-existent.
No, but Dean, you got to think of it this way. The offense was so good in the first 3-4 weeks of the season when they won all those early games. Now the schedule got a little bit tougher. And of course, there's going to be some regression. You've got this quarterback who played so well early in the season, hadn't been this type of player in his first 2 years. At some point, you're going to regress back to the mean. That has happened these last 2 weeks. But you lost by, 9 or 10 points tonight to the defending Super Bowl champions. You were expected to lose. I know it was a home game, but still, you were expected to lose. They were coming off a loss just as you were. And so you still have the lead in the division. If I'm a Buffalo Bills fan today, I just kind of take it in stride, say this was a game we were expected to lose, move on to next week and win, because that's what this team has been able to do early in the year, and then they fell back a little bit, but they can get it rolling again. That quarterback and that team is good enough, and that coaching staff is well positioned to get them back to where
I agree. It was not an ideal game, but I do also want to focus a little bit on the Titans game from the week before. It ended in a blowout. What was it? 42
to 17.
17. It ended in a blowout, but it was much closer than that final score would indicate for most of the game. The Bills did not look great offensively, but keeping it close for so long against two of the best teams in the AFC, that is impressive. This Bills team, I don't think anyone was truly predicting them to win the Super Bowl this preseason. They were predicted to be a hot team, and with a few pieces in the next few years, they could be a Super Bowl team. But the way Josh Allen played in those first 4 games, it was weak opponents, yeah, but we've seen him play weak opponents before, and he has not thrown for 400 yards and no picks.
And he beat the Rams too, so
He
not
beat
just
the Rams and
all bad
Raiders.
teams.
I'll give him that. The Rams and Raiders are good.
They're lucky they won that game against the Rams, because then they'd be in big trouble. If they'd be 3-3, they nearly blew a 28-3 lead. But I disagree with you guys. I mean, even though they lost to 2 tough teams, those are the 2 teams that were in the AFC Championship last year. The Bills are trying to prove that they're within the elite in the AFC. These are games you have to win to make a statement, and they're not doing it. Even though they're close games, these are games you have to win. These are the games that separate the good teams from the great teams, and they haven't won them. So that's all.
I don't think anybody thought the Bills were a great team, Jack. Unless you did. I did not.
Everyone thought they were on the rise. I'm just saying. Everyone thought they were going to take, like last year, they realistically, they should have made it to the second round of the playoffs. They lost. Like I think a lot of people had expectations this year for the Bills, especially once they added Stephon Diggs. At least I did.
It was not only that. Speaking of Stephon Diggs, this game was just. I'm not mad that they lost the Chiefs. I'm mad at how they performed against the Chiefs, to be exact, especially the receivers who could not get open. The team was penalty after penalty, and same with last week, undisciplined. And you don't expect that from a Sean McDermott team. It's very frustrating to see this type of stuff happen with this Buffalo team. And like you said, Jack, and like I said earlier, if you want to prove yourself, you got to prove your worth against teams like this, and they haven't done that.
Yeah.
All right. I would love to keep talking about the Bills. Unless anyone has any last things, we're going to move on.
Nope.
So the Bills next week, they, like Dean said, they get to play a nice little tune-up game against the Jets.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Jets this week.
Let's do it.
I'll go right into this. So, guys, I have a spelling bee question for you. S-U-C-K. What does that spell?
Adam Gase.
Adam Gase.
That's it. This is just pathetic. All I'm going to say is this: Christopher Johnson. The word that he used to describe, brilliant. Brilliant. So now I have a question for you guys. Is 0 points brilliant? Is 0 points brilliant?
If you're the Miami Dolphins defense, then yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I want to say, the Jets had a terrible, awful performance. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They looked terrible. They picked off Ryan Fitzpatrick twice, but that is not something you should really be proud about. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
The butt fumble and now the butt interception.
And Aidan, by the way, one of those interceptions came at the end of the half in the red zone, where if they would have scored, it would have been 28-0 at halftime. So let's not act like that was some big deal either.
Yeah.
So it was not a good game for the Jets, but I also do want to say it was a good game for the Dolphins. They looked good. Defensively, especially. Like, I know this is not a good offensive team, but they still were making plays. They were holding the offense back. And that's big for a team that's had some struggles, and they're now sitting at second place in the division. That's impressive.
I disagree with you, Aidan. They did not look good yesterday.
This game should not have been 24-0. I thought Tua was going to be in there by the middle of the third quarter.
And they couldn't convert a third down. They couldn't convert a third down if their life depended on it. Fitzpatrick was erratic all over the place. They were not consistent offensively, but yes, the defense did dominate. But if you're asking me how Fitzpatrick did and how the offense performed, not good.
I picked up Fitzpatrick in one league this week because I thought he was going to go for like especially what he did to the Niners, and they're actually like a good defense. I thought he was going to just put up 40 on us, but he didn't. But anyway, honestly, at this point, I just don't even understand. Because also, I was watching the press conference, Adam Gase literally just doesn't even look like he wants to be here anymore. Just cut your losses. And honestly, the longer he's on this team for the rest of the year, the higher his chances are of never getting another job in football again. Go.
I actually kind of agree with you, Jack. And it's a weird thing to say, but keeping him on here is actually the best thing for this team if they actually want to get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to mention
sort of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I sort of agree with you. I feel bad for the guy. He looks so defeated. He has no answers to any of the questions that are at all legit. He's upset with everybody. Everybody's upset with him. He knows he's not going to be here very long. And watching all these losses pile up, it's not like he'll ever see the rainbow, the light at the end of the tunnel here. He's never going to get to that point because before they get Trevor Lawrence, he'll be gone anyway. So he's just kind of in a terrible situation for him. And it's just not good, and you can see how it's really getting to him. And they got to just let him go for no other reason that he looks like a defeated man. It's just getting to him. It's eating at his core. And I don't want that. Like that's what does that do for us?
Yeah. Like two things I just want to mention. It just shows like how bad, like it just shows the difference between a good coach and a bad coach. So for example, like tonight in this Monday night game, Ezekiel Elliott, he's fumbled twice up to this point. But they still got him out there. He's still rolling. He's still playing like him. I understand he's an elite player, but I'm just using him as an example. So the Jets in the game the other day. So LaMichael Pirine, he finally got some decent action. He had like 6 carries, 26 yards. He averaged just over 4 yards carry, so he looked decent. But then on this play, he threw a ball, like Joe Flacco threw a pass to him that he dropped. So then in the press conference, they asked him, why did you decide to bench LaMichael Pirine for the rest of the game? He says, I don't want to hurt his confidence. So you don't want to hurt his confidence after he made a mistake, you're benching him. I just don't understand that. Like, why, if you're going to improve his confidence, why don't you put him back out there?
And do you think he's going to relinquish play calling Jack this week? Because I don't.
I don't know. And honestly, like you said, I don't even, as a fan, I don't want to fire him just because I don't want to risk losing the number 1 pick. And I was talking about this, I think, with Connor today in our PR class. The Jets, like, even though Sam Darnold's still good, the Jets, just the morality, the morale around the franchise right now is just so dead. We just we need a guy like Trevor Lawrence who just like will feel like a savior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They need like a new beacon of life.
Didn't Adam Gase have like a dispute recently with Greg Williams over the criticism?
Yep. And he apparently attacked Williams in one of those CBS pregame meetings with the commentators because they were talking about it yesterday. So that must have happened at some point. But it's just terrible. You're attacking your defensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator's coming back at you, and it just shows me if you can't have consistency and stability at the very top of your day-to-day operations in your franchise, which is obviously, the coach and his staff, how are you ever going to get the best out of your players and get the best out of your quarterback and have a functional franchise that can win? If you can't do that and you can't get along with people, especially the people that you hire, how is anybody ever supposed to be cohesive within their units and make this work? So it's a lost cause here. We already knew that, but it hit a new low yesterday.
Yeah, but now the Jets are the only team that has a chance of going 0-16, which we are. So as long as Trevor declares, it looks like he's found his home. And I'm just going to say is this. Trevor should be excited, man. When your main offensive weapon is a 38-year-old Frank Gore, just so excited.
All right. So we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the last AFC East team. This was not planned. I'm sorry. I want to talk about that Pats-Broncos game. That was something interesting to watch. Final score 18-12. 6 field goals for the Broncos, 2 for the Patriots, and a touchdown with a missed 2-point conversion. Everything seemed to be off for the Patriots this week, except for the secondary.
Yeah.
It was a weird game for sure. Denver did not look great. Although the fact that Drew Lock was able to come into Foxborough and win that game was pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, when you play a good team in this league, you have to convert your red zone chances into touchdowns. And when you go on long drives, you need to get 6 points out of that or 6 or 7 points out of that. It just has to happen. And typically when that doesn't happen, you lose. So I would say it was an impressive win on Denver's part. But offensively, they really didn't do much, and they didn't convert those chances into touchdowns, which you have to do. I think this was kind of a anomaly in the Patriots Belichick era. This typically doesn't happen. They don't lose to young quarterbacks. They don't lose when they hold teams to field goals. So I would just take it as a 1 week thing for New England. Cam Newton will be back next week. They were on a lot of rest. He didn't play. They'll be fine. I have no concerns about what that team will be able to do going forward.
Yeah. I'm going to have to agree with you there, no. I mean, no practice all week has clearly affected the Patriots, and you saw it in that game. But although the Broncos
especially Cam Newton.
Oh, especially Cam Newton. Not to discredit the Broncos. I'll say the defense definitely won the Broncos that game. The defense got Cam Newton. They did have some turnovers. The Broncos defense came to play. Yeah. But the fact that they only won with 6 field goals and by a low score of 18-12, it's just, like Noah said, this doesn't happen in the Belichick era, and now and now finally happened. The fact that Drew Lock came into Foxborough and won was shocking, but I feel this was more so the defense that won them the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And really, this goes to show I've thought this for a while, but I've always liked him probably since he first came into the NFL. Well, not since first came into the NFL, probably since like 2011. It just shows how good of a defensive mind Vic Fangio truly is. I've always believed this. Just give him a defense with just a little bit of talent, and he will get the absolute best out of them. And if you give him a defense with a ton of talent, look at his days back in San Francisco when they had all those studs, number one defense. Look at his 1 year in Chicago once Khalil Mack got there, number one defense. He gets the most out of his defense in any situation.
Yeah, no, I just want to agree with you on something you said. 6 field goals, great, good job. You got some field goals, but there were 2 turnovers at the beginning of the game in Patriots territory. The Broncos started with the ball over the 50-yard line and did not get a touchdown out of it. That's I was convinced. If you look back at my tweets, I was saying you're not going to beat the Patriots kicking field goals. I was wrong, but you are not going to win every single game if you can't score touchdowns when you're gifted golden opportunities. They had the ball in the 33-yard line to start one of their drives.
Yep.
33 yards to go, and they couldn't get a touchdown out of that. That is just disappointing, and that kind of stuff can't keep up.
Yeah, I have a question.
I'll say, Aidan, there's no chance that New England loses another game this season if it defends like that and forces teams into field goals. They won't lose.
100%.
It never happens. This was a one-time thing.
So, guys, I have a question for you at this point. We're pretty much we're if not exactly there yet, but we're nearing the halfway point of the NFL season. So far, ever since the divorce, I think it's pretty clear. At least to me, I think Brady has looked like Belichick misses Brady more than Brady misses him.
Honestly, I disagree.
I mean, I feel like if Tom Brady was in that game, they don't lose.
Yes, agreed. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Belichick's missing Brady that much.
Yeah.
Because who is a better quarterback, Tom Brady or Cam Newton?
Right now,
at this very moment?
all time.
Oh, okay. Obviously Brady.
It's Tom Brady. The problem right now is not the fact that they don't have a good quarterback. The problem right now is who is catching the ball? Nobody. It took them a quarter and a half to complete a pass to a wide receiver. Their offensive or their wide receiver production is horrendous right now.
Yeah, Brady got the most out of Edelman. Edelman's they're not barely getting anything out of right now.
Exactly.
I'm totally with Aidan on this. I think that Belichick has done really well in this divorce so far.
I'm not saying he was doing bad. I'm just saying.
All right.
I think they could have won yesterday. Like I said, to me, that's a one-time thing. And then the Kansas City game, if Cam Newton is in there, because they really didn't allow the Chiefs to do much offensively, I believe the Patriots win that game if Cam Newton plays.
If Cam Newton's in there, the
so
Patriots
if you can win that game and then you can, kind of win yesterday's game, all of a sudden you're at, 4 or 5 wins and you're near the top of the division and you're fine. So I'm not going to say that it's gone perfectly under Cam Newton, but it's gone a lot better than I think most people would have imagined.
Yeah, no one thought it would be this good. I agree with that.
Brady and Tampa. I mean, they won the game yesterday. They blew out the Packers, which was a very impressive win. We'll probably get to it later. But has everything else gone perfect? Absolutely not. It has not been totally smooth there. We've already seen some controversy with Brady forgetting the down and, yelling at teammates we've heard about. So not going to say it's been a perfect thing for Brady going to Tampa.
Yeah,
right. I do want to move on. And you did mention the last game I wanted to talk about. Packers Bucks. What happened, guys? The Packers have put up 35 plus points in every single game. Today they couldn't even put up they put up 10. Not today, sorry, this weekend.
Aidan, I think you gotta call out right now because you got an opportunity. You gotta call out
Aidan.
You gotta call out Matt. What's going on with Aaron Rodgers?
I know. I wanted to confront him, but also the way the Packers season has gone, the way the Saints season have gone. I mean, I don't want to give him any ammo towards me. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers looked awful. Tom Brady didn't look too particularly great, but they did enough for the win. The interceptions helped the Bucks there.
The defense really stepped up. They got him 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Nearly 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
Nearly, one and one almost.
It was like the 2-yard line that they.
Yeah. I was going against that Tampa defense. 20.
Aaron Rodgers just didn't look good, even with Devontae Adams, even with Aaron Jones. They had so many weapons in that game, and they couldn't complete it. They couldn't do it.
Hold on, Aidan. I gotta go against that point. That is not true. I actually think that the biggest issue in this game, more so than the way Aaron played, or more so than the defense, was the fact that these Packer receivers just don't separate. And Devontae Adams, we know, is
I'll give you
phenomenal.
that.
But they don't have Allen Lazard. He wasn't there yesterday. He's their number 2. Valdez Scantling moved into that role yesterday. He's not a number 3 even, so you can't rely on him to be your number 2 guy. You have Robert Tonyan, who came out of nowhere to be your number 1 tight end this year. They need to desperately make a move for a receiver at the deadline. They've got, what is it now, a week and a half or so to do it. They desperately need to do that because they just don't have enough players that can separate and get open for Aaron. Aaron buys all this time and runs around and makes things happen. But if you don't have anybody to throw to because nobody's open, what does that do? I mean, running around for 8-9 seconds does nothing in that case. So they need to go find a solution. I thought that Devin Funchess could be that when they signed him, but he opted out. So now they need to pivot and find another option. Not sure who's going to be available. Maybe Kenny Stills is one name I've heard that could be on the trading block, but we'll see what happens. But the Packers need to make a move desperately. That's their biggest problem.
I'd like to see them try and get back Randall Cobb. That'd be an interesting one.
Could be.
All right.
I could see Brandon Cooks being available, honestly.
Any more big NFL things we want to touch on before we move on?
No.
All right, fantastic. We'll get on with it. So next, Dean, looks like you're already prepared. We're going to talk some college football, which we haven't done yet this year. So let's start with that Clemson Georgia Tech game. Dean, take us through it. You're the Clemson guy.
Ooh, did you get to see a nice beat down on a nice Saturday afternoon? The Jets saw their future quarterback, my quarterback. Slow down there, Jack. Slow down there. The Jets got to see their future quarterback put on a show last Saturday, and he's going to put on another show this upcoming weekend. But anyways, that game was a beatdown. I don't want to sound a little cocky here to Georgia fans, but I shut off the second quarter at the game after the second quarter. It was 50.
You won 73-7. You have the right to be cocky about that.
It was 52-7 at the half. It was like there's no point in watching. You clearly got to see the number 1 team in the nation. Granted, you can make the argument when Ohio State comes back, they could be the number 1 or Alabama. But a win like that is definitely a huge statement win for Clemson. I know it's you could make a criticism of it's an ACC team. The ACC is weak compared to other conferences. The ACC has improved, in my opinion. But a win like that, 73-7, statement win, brilliant win by Clemson.
It doesn't matter who the opponent is.
Yeah,
I could not disagree with you more, Dean.
Oh, here we go. Let me guess. Alabama's your number 1 guy.
No. It's not anything against Clemson. I love Trevor Lawrence. I can't wait for him to be a Jet.
Yeah.
I just think that beating Georgia Tech, like, what does that prove? I mean, that is a bad football team. They have been for a few years already. So you're playing one of the basement teams of the ACC.
Yeah, but also that's
but they also beat down Miami.
They were able to beat up on like Virginia. They only beat them by 18 points a couple weeks ago. That's not a huge margin of victory for what Clemson typically does.
And they beat down.
If this was against a top ACC contender, I would totally be a believer that they are the best team right now. I'm not sold on them yet. We'll have to see what happens in their tougher games. Obviously, the schedule does get tougher past Syracuse, so we'll see. But not going to say it was a statement win, just an absolute beatdown against a team they should absolutely beat down.
Yeah, I agree with Noah. The competition's only going to get tougher from here, but as of now, I think it's hard to deny that they easily look like the best team. And as of now, Trevor Lawrence is looking like he's going to end his college career.
We haven't seen Ohio State play yet, so
exactly.
Calm down.
Yeah, I'm saying as of right now, before we've seen anything, I'm just saying as of this point in time, it looks like Trevor Lawrence is going to end his college career with only 1 loss. And I think as of right now, he's clearly the front runner for the Heisman.
Totally.
100%.
They do what they have to do. Like, this is, like Noah said, this is a game they're meant to destroy a team, and that's exactly what they did. They destroyed them. Another reason why I don't love college is because I feel a lot of these games are just such big mismatches. I don't find it as entertaining, and it's just a little slower. But the Clemson is doing what they're doing, and I think they're only going to get better as the year goes on.
I mean, I understand it was Georgia Tech, but it's not the first time they did that to a team. They did that to Miami last week. They've done it to almost every team except for, of course.
Dean, that was a win that I put a lot of stake in because Miami's a very good team.
Miami's legit this year.
Right. And so that was a win that I was like, wow, Clemson's excellent. But to beat Georgia Tech didn't show me anything. if they can do it again against Notre Dame later in the season, I will definitely put them 100% as the top team. But considering what Bama did, I gotta say it's neck and neck with those two after they beat down Georgia.
Of course.
Agreed. All right. So the next game we're going to talk about, probably the biggest game of the week of the season so far, Georgia Bama. A lot of stuff happened in that game. Who wants to start?
Yeah,
I should start this off.
2 words: Mac Jones. My God, is that kid special? And I'm not saying he's Tua. I mean, Tua was. I was so happy to see him out there playing against the Jets yesterday. That was the one thing the Jets really deserved at the end, was to let Tua come in and beat him up for a little bit. But it was great to see Mac Jones come in, and we knew it was kind of a controversial move. Last year he got hurt, and then Mac Jones came in, and he was pretty good, not excellent. They lost some games, and that really wasn't a classic Bama team last year. But we all expected them to get back to where they had been previously, and Mac Jones is the quarterback to do that. Threw for a ton of yards, beat up Georgia. That defense, though, I am concerned. Just like I'm concerned about the Clemson defense, because I don't think that they did what they were supposed to do against Virginia a few weeks ago. I am concerned about the Alabama defense, and I want to see it go up against some more elite competition within the SEC, because that will tell me more. But giving up 40-something points to A&M the previous week, and then based off of this week against a Georgia offense that I really don't think is as good as we've seen in the past, I do have some concern about Nick Saban's defense.
Ole Miss.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
48.
I mean, sorry. Yes. Ole Miss. My bad. Yes. It's
okay. For that game, what I took away was the play of Stetson Bennett at quarterback for Georgia. This guy cannot be the guy. I don't think Stetson Bennett could not be the guy for Georgia. He has not looked good over the course of this season, and in the second half of that Bama game, he did not look good at all. I mean, Georgia's a solid team, and Bama beat a very good Georgia team. But the quarterback play lost Georgia that game. Stetson Bennett is not a good quarterback.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. He's 18 of 40 for 269. That's unacceptable. If you're the number 3 overall ranked team, you got to have better quarterback play, or you got to find another way to win. You got to rely more on the run game. Only 57 yards was their top rusher. I think you got to completely change the game plan.
Yeah, I agree. All right, the last game I want to talk about. Florida State versus UNC. So Florida State at the half was up, 31-7? And UNC almost comes back. They score a touchdown with 5 minutes to go to cut the lead to 31-28, but FSU holds on. So
huge win for the Noles.
Very, very big win from a 1-3 team. They've been struggling this season. UNC has looked really good. So Noah, what are your thoughts on this? I know you were super psyched about this win.
Yeah, I am. I have 2 cousins that go to Florida State. I visited Florida State when I was a senior in high school. Senior in high school. And so I have a lot of appreciation for that school. I have been a fan of that program since Jameis Winston was there. From his first start, they were my new favorite college team outside of Syracuse. So I've always rooted hard for the Seminoles. This was a big win. This is not a very good football team if we're talking about Florida State. And Sam Howell's an excellent.
They're really bad.
Talking about North Carolina.
Awful.
At the end of the day, it was an upset, and it was the biggest upset that Florida State has had in a long time. So I am very happy about how it went. This for Tallahassee.
This just shows that I'm just looking at this as funny because I wasn't able to watch. I didn't see the highlights or anything for this game, so I was just looking to get an idea as we're talking about it. I just find this funny. On the Florida State side, I'm looking at the numbers. Their top running back doesn't even have a picture on ESPN. I think that shows how much they care about Florida State.
And yet, two of their guys cracked 100 rush yards. That was what carried them. I mean,
no, absolutely.
Their quarterback threw 8 for 19. I'm looking at it right now. 8 for 19, 191 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. That is not a winning stat line right there.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's more on you. It's more bad on UNC. You really got to clean it up, especially if you're number 5.
Especially at the end of that game. I personally, as a self-proclaimed hater of Florida State, sorry, Noah. I'm not a huge fan of Florida State, as mentioned, but I wanted UNC to win because, I really love their quarterback. I'm a huge Sam Howell fan. not like Jordan Love or Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, of course, but I really think there's something special in that kid at UNC, and UNC, who's a team that's on the rise, just did not. A game like that, you cannot afford for that to happen. And their two receivers who dropped the good passes at the end. Even if UNC won that game, you had no business being behind by that much against a team of that caliber. Horrible loss for UNC.
Yeah, for sure.
No, you're muted.
Uh,
So that's that for college football. Any big surprises from college football so far this year, team wise?
I want to say Auburn. Auburn has taken a huge fall from grace. They lost to South Carolina. We talked about this earlier, Aidan. They lost to Georgia. They didn't even look good against Georgia. They, I know I want to keep this PG friendly, but I'll try to be politically correct, although this will come off politically incorrect. Screwed over a certain team a few weeks ago. Arkansas got screwed over by the refs. That was a backwards pass. That was a fumble. Auburn should be 1-3. Auburn has taken a huge fall from grace, and for a team that has had high expectations this year, very disappointed. Their quarterback, Bo Nix, has taken a huge step back, hence why he has a name now, Bo Picks. Bo Nix has taken a huge step back, and Auburn has been very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Dean, you're so right on this. Bo Nix last year as a freshman flashed so much potential. He was going into this season one of my top Heisman contenders if I was going to pick it. And they have just looked terrible. And I just feel that every year that this team continues to kind of underachieve, never make it to the playoffs, never really get to the SEC title game, don't you feel like at some point the seat has to get really warm for Malzahn? Like, I don't feel like he can go on forever without truly winning something big. Because they're always one of the top teams in the SEC, but they never get over the hump with the Georgias and the Alabamas.
But it's not just Gus, it's quarterback play as well that has cost them. Bo Nix has not looked good this year. But I do agree with you. The seat has to get hotter. I think Gus is one of the more overrated coaches in college football right now.
No, but because you can only go off your national championship, and big appearances in the big games from a few years ago for so long. Like at some point, all that has to wear off, and you've got to continue to have a sustained run of success. And I think we're at the point where it's been too long since they were in a truly a big game.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So with that, we are going to move on to our final topic of the night. And of course, you guys know what it has to be. We are going to be talking about the World Series. It is coming up soon. It's starting Tuesday night, 8 p.m. This is going to be a series for the ages, I think. You got Rays Dodgers. So you got some big bats on both sides. You got some great pitching on both sides. Before we get into any analysis, I want to hear picks. Who are we picking to win? Actually, you know what? Let's talk about the game, then let's do picks. Let's do that after.
Yes.
Yeah. So first off, I just want to say, in terms of playoff baseball, just in terms of being a baseball fan, I couldn't have asked for much more. 2 series that went the distance, and 2 of them that were nearly huge. One was a huge comeback. The other one was almost an historic comeback. The Astros were down 3-0 against the Rays. They fought back, and I just want to say the Astros this year, nobody was rooting for them. Everybody wanted them to lose, but they took all the criticism. And with a depleted pitching staff, they're missing a lot of pieces. They should be proud of what they accomplished.
As much as I don't want to say it, respect.
You have to respect the Astros for what they did. And if they can if they can just upgrade their starting pitching, well, Verlander's probably going to be out most of next season, but they'll still be around. But like I said, I've said this, I think, on one of our other recent episodes. I'm going to be rooting for the Rays in this World Series. Like I said, the Rays, they're a team that I feel most people don't appreciate. They don't have, unlike the Dodgers, they don't have any of those. They don't have as many of those sexy players. They're a team that doesn't, when you look at them on paper, they don't have a ton of flash, but they're a team that gets the job done. They're a team that gets the job done. They fight and they win. I think everybody can agree. Everyone thought the Yankees were taking that division and were going to go to the World Series, but they had their own plans, and they made their way there. So that's that for the Rays. And for the NLCS, just poor Charlie. I am so sorry for you. Atlanta just can't do anything right. Personally, I'm very happy that Atlanta choked this away because I'm a Met fan and I have no love for the Braves. But the Dodgers, they are lucky that they pulled this comeback off. They would be considered one of the absolute biggest failures one of the biggest failures in baseball history this year. This was a season that everyone proclaimed that this title is theirs. Houston was going to be depleted, that they didn't have, that was really going to be that was always their biggest challenge. They're finally going to get there. They're loaded. They just traded for Mookie Betts. And oh my God, did they save their season with this comeback. Corey Seager, my God, if any man deserves a pay raise, it's him. He's on Noah, you can remember this. He's having a playoff run similar to Daniel Murphy in 2015.
Yep.
And Jack, you said that, this has got to be just like a sigh of relief.
Yeah,
for the Dodgers. I mean, imagine they saved their season, they saved their respect.
They definitely saved
their dignity by coming back from that. They complained that the Astros cheated against them, which is why they didn't win. They complained that the Sox cheated against them. That's why they didn't win. They were unlucky last year. And then if they come in this year and everything's different and they're the favorites to win and they still can't do it, they can't even get there, that is, they lose. So I feel like they lose a lot of respect there. So
definitely would have been fired.
And great job for coming back from that 3-1 deficit. And I'm going to be really, really interested to see who wins this World Series. I think I would love to see both teams win it. That's the thing. I'm really torn.
Yeah.
The Rays have never won one. The Dodgers have had their fair share of struggles over the past couple of years in the postseason. So either way, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not going to be annoyed if who wins this series. Like if the Dodgers win, I'll be happy for Mookie Betts. He can really, what's the word I'm trying to look, raise his legacy with another World Series. He's already an MVP. He could start to make an argument for Cooperstown if he can stay healthy with 2 World Series rings. And the Rays, they're just a team that's looking for the first championship. So we got some good storylines. It's going to be an exciting one.
It's absolutely. And it's so funny you mentioned it, Jack. The contrasting styles of this series. We've never seen anything like this.
Star-studded versus the under the radar.
We've never seen anything like this in a World Series before. You've got all these ace pitchers for both starting staffs, but when it comes to the bullpen, it's just not close.
No, for sure.
I mean, Nick Anderson and Fairbanks and Castillo and the list goes on of guys that can just throw 99 and strike you out. And for the Dodgers, they have the bigger names, obviously. They have the Kenley Jansens and the Joe Kellys, but are they as effective as the guys that the Rays have in their bullpen? Absolutely not. Now, offensively, this series is a total mismatch because the Dodgers 1 through 9 have an elite lineup and the Rays don't. It's been Randy Arozarena and basically nothing else this entire postseason. We'll see how it all works itself out in this series. But that's why I have to give the edge to the Dodgers here. The pitching staffs, in terms of the starters, are relatively even. I mean, 3 aces for the Rays, and then you have another 2 for the Dodgers with Kershaw and Buehler, and they have some extra depth there also. But the bullpen, not close. Offensively, not close for the Dodgers. Got to give them the edge. They just have too much offensive firepower, and I don't think the Rays have really seen anything like what the Dodgers are going to throw at them from a pitching from a hitting standpoint in this series.
Yeah. Well, you can argue. Well, I mean, in terms of like big name, big bats, they did kind of face that with the Yankees. I mean, they had Judge, Torres, LeMahieu. I mean, you can't.
I think this is a different animal.
This is different. Dean, what are your thoughts?
I know there's more, but you can't say they haven't faced and defeated.
No, that's true.
Big guy. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, this is a really interesting matchup. These are 2 teams I don't want to see lose because you got Tampa Bay, who, they don't get to see much success. They're a very small market team under the radar, and now they're here. And, even heading into the season, 60 games heading into the postseason, this was a team that I personally, if any team in the AL wanted to face, I would not want to face the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays were that team that you did not want to play in the playoffs. And then you got the Dodgers who came very close over the past few years, very close, got screwed over out of one of their World Series titles against the Houston Astros. And I really want LA to win to get redemption after what happened years ago, but it's really hard to root against either team. You also got the Dodgers offense, who's flawless, and you got the Rays bullpen and pitching, who's top notch. this is going to be an interesting series. I think this is going to be like Aidan said. This could be a series for the ages, and I think this series will definitely go to 7.
Yeah, definitely.
So-
I think it's definitely going to go 7.
I would not be surprised seeing this go to 7, but let's make our picks. So
Wait. Can we just make one? I want to make one point.
go for it.
If Clayton Kershaw can finally, in this series, like silence all the doubters and win a couple of these games and maybe take home a World Series MVP or at least be a huge contributor towards the Dodger win, he's still one of the greatest starting pitchers of all time. But the legacy hit in terms of the postseason has been enormous. If they can finally win a World Series and he can finally have some sustained success in a World Series, he has to go down as one of the top 10 or 15 starting pitchers of all time, in my opinion.
If he's not already.
And all the Cy Youngs he's won and everything he's done, an MVP award, there's no reason now with the ring that he shouldn't go down as one of the greatest ever.
You don't think he's already? I totally think he's already there.
I do think that he's close. I don't know if I have him in my top 10, but if he were to win this thing, I think I would have to elevate him there. Statistics-wise, he's one of the greatest ever. And I'm actually a defender of his playoff record more than most people, but I do think it does hit him. It does knock him down a little bit. This would be a huge way for him to elevate his status.
To cement his
all-time left-handed pitchers ever.
To cement your legacy, I definitely think he needs this. I agree with you. He definitely needs a ring if he wants.
He also had an elite season this year, which he was a little bit down the maybe past year or two. So to combine a great regular season and then finish it off with a World Series, that would be a huge boost for this guy. For Kershaw, I mean, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's go picks. Dean, kick us off.
As much as here's the thing, I would like to see the Rays win, but I would like to see the Dodgers. I'm going to go with the Dodgers in 7. I think Clayton Kershaw is finally going to get that ring, as we were talking about. The Dodgers, after years and years of coming so close, I think this will be the one. This has to be the one that gets them over the hill. Give me the Dodgers in 7. I really don't want to see either team lose, but Dodgers in 7.
Noah?
Yeah. No, you go.
Dodgers in 6. Too much offensive firepower, and I do think that Kershaw and Buehler will be outstanding in the starts they do make. That Rays offense is not great. I mean, they have Arozarena, who's been Superman in these playoffs, but outside of him, Brandon Lau's been quiet. He's their best hitter. They don't have enough offensively.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys. I'm gonna also, as much as I don't want to, I prefer the Rays to see the Rays win, but the Dodgers are gonna join the Lakers and they're gonna bring another title to LA. And I'm gonna make it. Well, I'm just like Noah said, just all the bats. The pitching is equal, but then the bats for the LA are so much better. Bellinger, Betts, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Corey Seager, Pollock. They have too much talent. I'm gonna go, and also I'm gonna make a prediction just because this is the guy I want to see win the MVP the most. I always say this. I've said this to Noah, the guy that always say the Mets never should let go, and that's Justin Turner. And I hope he wins World Series MVP.
I'm gonna disagree with you guys. I'm gonna take the Rays in 6.
I want the Rays to win though, but
I think Clayton Kershaw is gonna be lights out, especially in Game 1. He's gonna do everything he can, but it's not gonna be enough. I just think the pitching for the Rays is too good right now, and they're coming in with some momentum. I mean, both teams are coming in with some momentum, but just I feel like both teams really, really, really want it. It's going to be a hard series. I'm taking Rays in 6. Jack, you mentioned your MVP. Dean, Noah, who you guys got?
If I'm going to pick in terms of a player, I'd probably pick Bellinger. I mean, he just came off a great finish to the last series, and he's a former MVP. But really, the MVP of the series has to be Andrew Friedman, the architect of the Rays team when he was there a few years ago, and now he runs the Dodgers. He is a baseball genius. He has been everywhere that he has gone. Those teams have won. So Andrew Friedman, he's got to be the MVP in my opinion. He is some executive.
Dean?
Go with Cody Bellinger. I love Cody Bellinger. I got to go with Cody Bellinger. I remember I said before, when we made our predictions, when I messed around with Noah, I did say Max Muncy as a joke, and then I said Walker Buehler, but I'm going to go with Cody Bellinger here.
I want to talk about one more thing relating to baseball. I just want to know your guys' opinions on this because I thought.
Wait, I haven't given my MVP yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
Hey, I'm taking the rookie. I'm taking Randy. I see him. I think he's gonna hit 3 homers this series, including the walk-off series winner in Game 6.
Against Kenley Jansen?
Who knows? Maybe it'll go to extras. Maybe they'll bring in Kershaw to close the game.
Aidan, it's going to be World Series Game 7, bases loaded, down by 3, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, full count.
No, wait. Aidan, he can't hit a walk-off in Game 6. It's a Dodger home. It's a Dodger home game in Game 6.
All right.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Go ahead, Grand Slam.
He's going to hit the game winner. Not a walk-off, but it's going to be the game winner. That's my pick. All right, Jack, go ahead. What are you going to talk about? And then we got to get to winners and losers.
I want to talk about this quickly just because I think it's a big deal, at least in terms of baseball. This Billy Beane has decided he's going to step down and he'll no longer be running the Oakland A's franchise. Billy Beane is really one of the first executives in all sports, you can say, to truly embrace
pioneers.
To truly embrace that analytic approach to baseball. And the A's have been like that. They make those under the radar moves, and they're always a team that's always in the playoffs. They're always in the hunt. They're always around 100 wins most times. So this could be the A's. What direction do you think the A's are gonna? How are the A's gonna look going forward?
They're gonna be fine. They've got talent. And at the end of the day, when you have an executive like Billy Beane, he's not leaving without having someone in place that's trained and ready to take over. They have an analytics department that knows what it's doing, and the other executives know how to handle it. They should be fine. They've got enough talent, and the front office is spectacular.
Beane pioneered this whole idea, this whole way of thinking,
Absolutely.
But he's not the only person who can do it anymore.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I'm just saying because he's just been there for so long. I feel kind of bad for him. He never got that ring.
He'll get it with is he stepping down so he can buy part of Boston?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what, but he's doing something related with the Red Sox.
Yeah, he's part of a group that's buying part of the Sox.
Front office.
Yeah, he was nearly the GM of the Red Sox if you watch Moneyball.
He was. I'm sad about that we missed him, but
he still won.
All right, let's move on to winners and losers. Jack, I believe you and I are losers this week. So Noah or Dean, either of you guys want to give us a winner?
I'll start. My winner is one of the greatest ever media people in the history of sports. The great Mike Doc Emmerich retired. We found out this morning, the greatest hockey announcer in history. And it's not even a question. It's just an undisputed fact that this is the greatest we've ever seen. Some of his calls are legendary. His adjectives for describing the way the puck moves are legendary. All the things he has done over the course of a near half-century career, it's just amazing. He's called, I think it's 22 Stanley Cups, 6 Olympics. He's done it all over at a few different networks. So congratulations from all of us to the great Mike Doc Emmerich, the greatest hockey announcer ever, and there's no way that the NHL can ever replace him in the booth. It's just not going to happen.
Agreed.
Dean?
I want to do a little quick and disagree with that. I don't think he's the greatest hockey announcer. This little bull take. I think he's the greatest announcer. And NHL and NBC is not going to be the same without him. Not even close. And personally, he was an inspiration for me to kind of be sports media, whether it was announcer, analyst. He was one of the few guys. So I want to tip my hat off to him. My winner of the week is from boxing. This man beat Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez, becoming the youngest champion to win 4 belts, all 4 belts in his division, and now he'll be chasing will possibly be chasing another belt at 140.
That is impressive. Jack, what you got for us?
My loser is going to surprise you, or at least I think it's kind of funny. My loser is Trevor Lawrence, because he is now locked in to come to the New York Jets franchise. As much as it makes me happy, I feel bad for the guy. He deserves better than us. And as of right now, he should enjoy every game he has, because it's looking like he's got 4 years left before once we ruin him and we go on to another guy. So I'm sorry, Trevor.
All right.
So do you think, though, Jack, that the Jets could try and possibly make a run at Dabo Swinney? Could you see that, Dean? I mean, you're the Clemson guy.
I love that.
I'm sorry. Say that again. Please don't say that again.
Are you kidding me? If Trevor Lawrence comes to the Jets, Do you honestly think there's a real shot that if the Jets have a coaching change, they could try and make a run at Dabo Sweeney?
I could,
No,
I
no,
could
no,
see it. Make that pitch saying, listen, we're going to take Trevor number 1. You know him. You know how to teach him.
Are
I
you?
would love
Because
that.
I could potentially see that.
I would love that. But then but if Dabo comes, you got to be like, this is your team. You have control of player personnel. Like, I feel like that's
He would come in and have full control.
We've also seen college football coaches that go and like get full control right away in their first season in the NFL. They have a tendency to do well because they know those players. They know the
Rule's
players.
killing it with Carolina
picking.
Panthers right now.
Yeah, and we saw Pete Carroll when he started with the Seahawks.
Right.
Please stop this right now. This is making me sad the more you say this. Are you kidding me? This is just preposterous at this point. What are you guys?
That'd be funny.
Well, I'm just saying, look, Cliff Kingsbury did it. He knew Kyler Murray. Lincoln Riley's had interest before. We've talked a lot about him going to Dallas or somewhere else maybe. As a package deal, I could see it, Dean.
I agree to disagree with you.
But also, I just want to make another point. I want to make another winner I have. Well, another winner is Noah and I, because our World Series is coming, and the matchup that we're looking forward to is Steve Cohen versus the FLB owners. And once that is through, it's like the Mets are a new team once again. All right.
So my loser is the Big Ten right now. I just got this notification earlier tonight. According to Bleacher Report, apparently the Big Ten coaches are not going to be required to wear masks.
That is a mistake.
Wow.
That is a massive mistake. The Big Ten already faced a lot of backlash from some fans about kind of forcing their season back in after some bullying from Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State. Now they're saying that Big Ten coaches are not going to be fined by the Big Ten for not wearing masks, so it's up to the schools individually. I think that's a horrible mistake. That is not taking this seriously. That is the exact opposite of what you want to do right now.
If I'm not mistaken, Aidan, isn't the Purdue coach not going to be on the sideline anyway? Doesn't he have the virus? Am I right about that, Dean?
I do believe that. Yes, I do believe so.
Okay.
But either way, it's just like that is not something that's ridiculous. But regardless, that is it for us this week. Thank you guys for listening. We had a lot of fun doing this. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And listen to us on Spotify if you want to listen to us on the go. Also, we are back on VIC Radio Saturdays 10:30 to 11 a.m. So give us a listen there. It's not going to be this episode. We do a special episode every week for that. But that is all for this week. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. We'll be back Saturday. Until next time, thanks for listening.